Let's burn down the old meta and arise with the Flame Emperor Sabo from OP13. And if you're looking for how to play him, here's everything you need to know. Sabo is a unique red-black dual-colored leader in that he has 5 life still, along with 5k power. As a trade-off, he features a passive ability that says if you have 4 or more life cards, give this leader minus 1k power, but also a Dawn 1 ability. If you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, your leader and all of your characters gain plus 1000 power, essentially exchanging early game nerfing for late game buffing. But here's the thing, if we could create an 8 cost character ahead of 8 Dawn curve, then our leader's nerf buff design becomes all buff. And wouldn't you know it, Sabo is in the perfect card type to do that. The Revolutionary Army. OP12 gives us great cost buff characters to draw on. These are characters who come in for their printed cost, but give themselves additional cost once in play, with their final cost being at least 8. Like Hack, a 4 cost 5k power character with 1k counter that gains 4 cost and blocker if your leader is Rev Army. He also has an on KO ability that KOs an opponent's cost 4 or less character if your leader is Rev Army, meaning he can keep a lid on any aggressive decks, removing 2 attacks between his block and on KO ability. We also have one of our 2k counters, Morley, a 4 cost 5k power character with 2k counter who gets plus 4 cost if your leader is Rev Army. These are the prime early game cards to get us to cost buffing fast. We do have access to OP12's Lindbergh and Karasu, as well as OP13's Koala, but Lindbergh's effects really don't do much to affect board, and while Karasu's discarding is great and Koala turns on your leader ability, we want to play our cost buffers as early as possible, and their higher cost messes with our overall curve. Also to note, we will be getting this promo Sabo come December or January. There's a weird push happening at the moment I'm writing this guide. That's a 4 cost 6k power character that gets plus 4 cost and blocker, with an on play that takes your life to give a rested Dawn card to your leader or character. This card could actually find a decent place in this deck, offering another sizable blocker that can take life when your opponent is actually starving you out. So how do we make a deck that revolves around playing one of 8 cards in your 50 card deck on curve? By playing a metric ton of searchers. Because we're looking for Revolutionary Army characters cost 4 or more, we can play all these Rev Army searchers from OP05's Fellow Betty, OP12's Koala, and OP12's Captains Assembled, all of which check the top of your deck for Revolutionary Army cards other than itself, with the black one sending the extra to trash. More on that later. And since they're all Rev Army type, if you miss your 4 drop, you can chain into each other to search deeper. Plus OP13's best searcher in the game, Monkey D. Garp, is available to you. A 1 cost 2k power character with 1k counter and on play if your leader is Luffy, Sabo, or Ace. Search the top 4 cards of your deck for a cost 3 or more card. An absolutely insane card to get printed, but lucky for us, it goes in the deck. Plus, your leader's power buffing basically turns you into a classic red Zoro deck, allowing you to easily convert these cheap searches from the early game into attackers in the late game. In fact, we're in so deep for searching, we're even playing Revolutionary Army HQ, a 1-drop stage that, like most, lets you rest it, trash a card from your hand, then check the top 3 cards of your deck for a matching type, in this case, Rev Army. Once you're done assembling your 8 cost ahead of curve, we can start looking at our haymakers, because this deck is otherwise all about going over the top. First is our brand new Sabo character, which also bridges the gap between our late game and early game. He's a 6 cost 7k power character with blocker and activate main once per turn. Up to one of your characters gains 2 costs to the end of your opponent's next turn. Then give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Really great for stabilizing board and making sure you can always have leader ability active, even when we're tapping out all of our Dawn for these other large threats, like Monkey D. Dragon. No, I did mean both of you. OP07's Dragon is an 8 cost 9k power character with Rush, and on play give up to 2 rested Dawn to a leader or character, allowing you to utilize him for extra pressure or to slam in and remove a rested character. Meanwhile, OP12's Dragon is more of a combo piece. He's an 8 cost 8k power character. With on play, you may place 3 Rev Army type cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. If your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. With an ability like this, you can easily stabilize or push over the top of any board by multi-playing strong characters. Told you that trashing from our searchers would be very important. And funny enough, Sabo has access to both of the important top-end cards in other OP13 meta decks, Stussy and Goldie Roger. Stussy is a 9 cost 9k power character with on play, you may trash one of your characters to KO any of your opponent's characters, converting any of your early game searchers into hard removal to anything without KO protection. Meanwhile, Roger is the all-important game ender of the format, a 10 cost 13k power character with Rush. And when your opponent activates blocker, if either you or your opponent has 0 life cards, you win the game. The game right now really revolves around value blockers, like PRB2's Marco or any of the 5 Elder blockers. Even your own hack is a great example of these blockers. With Roger, we're able to bypass them in the late game to break through our opponent's defenses. This is another reason why that promo Sabo may also be good, as it gives us a way to put our own life to 0, turning on Roger's ability. But we're not just suited for aggressive plays. We also get great defensive pieces like the Sabo from PRB2, a 6-cost, 6k power character with 2k counter and blocker, whose cost is reduced by 3 if your trash is 15 cards or more. Or Waxing Fist, a 1-cost counter event that gives your character or leader 2k for the battle, and an extra 2k if you control an 8-cost character or more. Plus trigger, draw 1 card, and then trash on the top of your deck, and it is searchable off all your Rev Army cards. And Sabo definitely knows when to pick up some new moves, like Teach's Black Vortex, a 2-cost counter event that negates the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards, and gives that card minus 4,000 power during this turn. With Trigger, negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards during this turn. Great for repelling Zora leaders or removing blanket effects like 10-cost Roger. Or we can pick up some moves from Kuma with Ursa Shock, a 4-cost main event that KOs up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. If you have a character with cost 8 or more, you may select your opponent's characters with cost 6 or less instead. With Trigger, draw 1, then trash 1 card from the top of your deck. A searchable removal piece that can alleviate early and late game pressure. What you really need to understand is how to best thread your early turns to get your leader's negative ability into a positive as fast as possible, so you can start generating turn over turn advantage by having 6k base leader and buff boards. So pay attention. When it comes to first versus second, you're actually curve favored going first, since it allows us to play a 4-cost on curve and immediately attach a Dawn to leader for leader ability. Going second, the only way you can do that when you play your 4-cost on curve is by specifically playing the Black Sabo promo we talked about earlier, which also requires taking a life. But unfortunately, decks in the OP13 meta are night and day when it comes to their power level based on going first or second. So you're typically going to hate pick against your opponent. Going first, use turn 1 and turn 2 to sculpt your hand and fill trash with your searcher's effects as much as possible. Since every turn after, we want to utilize tapping out most of our Dawn towards one big card. Turn 3, we're playing our first 4-cost character that becomes 8-cost and giving 1 to leader to start generating your leader's power boost effect. On turn 4, we really want to play some combination of 6-cost Sabo plus swinging with leader and character, both boosted by your leader's Dawn ability to put as much pressure as possible with a hard to interact with board. If your 4-cost was hack, removing him in combat could even be worse for your opponent than keeping him on board. And your 6-cost Sabo is typically going to give you a free block with his now 8k body. With 6-cost Sabo established, we can now fully tab out for our 8, 9, or 10 drops, with your leader's ability always active. For turn 5, that means a 9-cost Stussy to remove your opponent's best character, and if they don't give you a good target, either of your dragons adding more pressure to the board will nicely punish their passive play. Second curve is pretty similar, except we have less sculpting opportunity. We start turn 1 trying to play double searcher on 2 Dawn. Then on turn 2, we're going to drop our first 4-drop, but unfortunately that means we get no attacks that turn, unless our opponent really domed us early for a bunch of rush damage, or again we played the 4-cost promo Sabo. Turn 3, it's time to slam Secret Sabo to start generating our leader effect, and turn 4, we either combine a 4-drop play with events in our hand to alleviate opponent's pressure, something like KO with Ursa Shock or holding up counter event, or we jam an 8-cost dragon to the board. Assembly boards like this are extremely powerful, just as powerful as we assemble members to our channel, who get content up to 2 weeks early, as well as other fun perks like our members only reviews of the weekly One Piece chapter, emotes, and other fun perks. This deck has a great matchup into Green Zoro, since our power boosted leader and character can really survive a lot of Tashiki activations and Zoro leader attacks, especially with Black Vortex. Plus your hack is perfectly suited to deal with that pesky 4-cost Zoro they now play. And Emu is a matchup you can definitely win with your ability to go wide and play a Roger late game to invalidate their blockers. Just remember that their Mars KO ability targets base cost 5 or less, so your cost buffing won't avoid that. And letting them go second will typically be a very uphill battle, as a Stussy on turn 5 is pretty ineffective against us anyway, and ours is ineffective against them. But 5 Elders on their turn 5 is backbreaking. And as always, here's some lists to get you started. This list went 7-1 in the Bandai 3v3 event in Japan, while this list won a store prelim going 5-0. And if you're looking for more OP13 leader guides or some more fun One Piece content, check out the channel and subscribe.